What if someone had the power to decide life and death with nothing but a pen? What would they do? Would they create a better world or merely justify their own downfall? Light Yagami, the complex protagonist of Death Note, is a model student with a seemingly bright future. Possessing extraordinary intelligence and a reputation as Japan's top student, Light embodies the limitless potential of youth. Yet beneath his calm and confident exterior lies a deep dissatisfaction with a world he deems rotten, a world riddled with crime, injustice, and hypocrisy. Light's encounter with the Death Note, a notebook that grants the power to take a life by simply writing someone's name, marks the beginning of a transformation that is both compelling and terrifying. In an instant, he shifts from an idealistic young man to a figure who sees himself as absolute justice. The notebook is not merely a tool, it is a mirror reflecting humanity's darkest tendencies, the allure of limitless power and the ability to dictate life and death. Light Yagami is not just a character, he is the embodiment of a profound moral dilemma. He compels us to ask, what happens when an individual with extraordinary capabilities is given unchecked power? Does he become the savior of the world or its ultimate downfall? With every step he takes, Light reveals how thin the line is between good and evil, between justice and tyranny. His story is not merely the journey of a young man, but a reflection on ambition, morality, and the consequences of absolute power. Before destiny led him to the Death Note, Light Yagami lived an almost flawless life. As a high school student in Japan, he was the epitome of the ideal youth, intelligent, polite, disciplined, and destined for greatness. Light consistently excelled academically, mastering every subject and earning the respect of teachers and peers alike. In the eyes of society, he was the embodiment of a promising young generation, a source of pride for his family and nation. His family environment provided unwavering support. His father, Soichiro Yagami, a respected chief of police known for his integrity and dedication, served as a strong moral foundation in Light's life. His mother, a caring homemaker, and his younger sister, Sayu, who admired him with wide-eyed awe, added harmony to their household dynamic. Yet this harmony was a facade, a fragile calm concealing cracks within Light himself. Behind his polite smiles and exemplary demeanor lurked an unspoken emptiness. The world around him felt too small, too stagnant. With his extraordinary intellect, Light perceived the routines of daily life as shallow, monotonous, and ultimately futile. As he watched crime reports on the news, a deep frustration brewed within him. He saw a world where the wicked roamed free, preying on the weak, while the law operated as a feeble and ineffective instrument. In his mind, a cynical judgment began to take root. This world and the people within it were rotten. Yet despite his increasingly polarized thoughts, he adhered to the rules, maintaining his image as an honorable and upright individual. Light's life before the Death Note presents an intriguing paradox. He appeared to have achieved everything, yet within he felt he had accomplished nothing. He was a figure of immense potential, constrained by societal structures that stifled him. When the Death Note finally fell into his hands, he did not see it as mere coincidence, but as a calling. The notebook was the key that unlocked the door to his hidden ambitions, a gateway out of the stagnant life he despised. It was an opportunity to step into a larger world, a world where he could redefine morality, justice, and power on his terms. Light Yagami, at first glance, appeared to be the perfect young man, intelligent, handsome, and talented. To the world, he embodied the idealist with a bright future. However, upon discovering the Death Note, the ideal world he envisioned became a bridge to an inevitable moral downfall. Light's journey from an idealist to an absolutist, consumed by an obsession with power, is a tale of how morality can be distorted by ambition and how power can transform a person into someone even they no longer recognize. When Light Yagami first discovered the Death Note, he was just a young man weary of a world he deemed rotten. The constant stream of crime reports on television, rampant corruption, and unresolved injustices filled him with deep frustration. He believed the world needed a savior, someone brave enough to take extreme measures to create true peace. However, Light's idealism was rooted in utilitarian morality, a belief that sacrificing the few for the collective good was justified. When he first used the death note to kill a criminal he saw on the news, his actions were not driven by a lust for power, but by the conviction that he was doing the right thing. "If I don't do it, who will?" became a mantra that echoed in his mind. At this stage, Light viewed himself as a savior, an ordinary human granted the tool to change the world. He saw himself as an agent of transformation, chosen by fate to bear the weight of the world's burden. Yet this belief began to erode as he felt the intoxicating effects of his newfound power. As the Death Note's power proved its effectiveness, Light's idealism transformed into something far darker. His philosophy shifted from utilitarianism to moral absolutism, where he began to see himself as the very source of truth and justice. This shift first became apparent in his conversations with Ryuk, the Shinigami who originally owned the Death Note. "This world needs someone strong, someone who knows what is right and wrong," Light declared with an almost thunderous conviction. In his mind, Light was no longer merely a tool of justice. He was justice itself. This moral absolutism was reflected in increasingly aggressive actions. No longer content with targeting criminals with clear evidence, Light began eliminating anyone he perceived as a threat to his vision. FBI agents investigating him, journalists getting too close to the truth, even innocent people who happened to be in his way, all became victims. Yet behind these actions, something more striking emerged. Light began to enjoy the power he wielded. He no longer killed solely to create a better world, but to maintain control over it. As the world grew to recognize and even revere the figure of Kira, Light's obsession with power reached its zenith. He relished the fear and respect he commanded, not just from criminals, but also from the general populace. "I am the god of this new world," he proclaimed to Ryuk in a scene that laid bare the extent of his inflated ego. Here, Light's transformation into an absolutist, consumed by power, became unmistakable. His once idealistic philosophy had become a justification for tyranny. He saw himself not merely as an enforcer of justice, but as its ultimate arbiter. However, despite Light's belief in his rational and unshakable leadership, his actions began to tell a different story. His fear of failure and his obsession with preserving the perfect image of Kira drove him to increasingly reckless decisions. He killed without considering the consequences, manipulated those around him, and even sacrificed people he claimed to care about, all to protect his identity. At this point, Light was no longer an idealist seeking to create a better world. He was a tyrant concerned only with his own power. Light Yagami's transformation serves as a dark parody of Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch. In many ways, Light resembles an Übermensch. He rejects traditional morality, creates new values, and seeks to transcend human limitations. Yet he fails to achieve one crucial aspect of Nietzsche's ideal: freedom from ego. Light never truly transcends himself. He remains trapped in his obsession with power and recognition, making him not a moral leader, but a tyrant who loses his humanity. Ultimately, Light's journey is a cautionary tale about how power can corrupt even the noblest intentions. It is a reminder that idealism, without introspection, can easily morph into absolutism, and that unchecked power often leads not to salvation, but to ruin. Thank you.